Okay, I wanted to show you guys my gun concealment shelf, and this is a good idea so you can have something outside of your safe and still have it concealed and quicker to get to when you need it. And not only that, but just no one knows it's there, so you can be going about your everyday life in the house and knowing that you have something that you can get to if there's an emergency, even if other people are around or whatever's going on. I mean, let's say, for instance, this is kind of a long shot, but let's just say that somebody broke into your house and was holding you at bay with whatever, gun, knife, just intimidation, whatever, and you had a chance to get to something like this and they didn't see you getting to it, whereas if you were going to your safe or a dresser drawer or under your bed, they would probably stop you before you got to that point. So that's something you could look at too, but just quick access with being out of the way is one of the most important points. So what we have here is a magnet, and this company is called Covert Cabinets. Now, one of my relatives, Dylan, bought me this for a Christmas gift this last year, and I'm going to talk about what we did to mount this, how it was, and something I had to modify on here, or it would have probably been broke if I didn't fix it, and I'll show you that near the end. So you just do like that, and inside of here, I have a Gen 5 Glock 17. I have an extra loaded magazine, and I have this really cool little Olight S1 baton. I just like to keep a light in there with it. You know, it's got enough room to hold a few things, so I figured why not just go ahead and keep that in there. So all you do to close it and latch it is to push up. You'll hear it lock. Take your magnet right here. You can hide this or keep it wherever you want. I just had it up here behind this. I got a box of Hornady Zombie 5.56 ammo up here, but you know, you could conceal this, of course, way better than what I have it here. Find your magnet, push up, and it drops down free. You have access to your firearm right there. So that's, you know, it's just another alternative. Now, I don't really recommend that, guys, if you have like teenagers and different things in the house that could, you know, if somebody could get into that, of course, but, you know, I'm not going to get into all that. You know, you should have everything you need locked up in your safe when that time is due. Okay, so what we did, guys, was it came with hardware to mount this, and I have one nice big 3-inch screw going through a stud in the wall, and then I have 2 other screws on the side and anchors into this drywall. Okay, so this thing's really secure. There's no movement at all. We just used a level, and you got to have a drill and the right equipment, of course, to do this, but it's very easy to install. But I do want to show you guys what happened and what I had to do in order to make this work, or I wouldn't even have been able to keep a gun in there and use it anymore. And you know, this was right after I got it too. So first I was kind of disappointed, and then I modified it and it worked. Let me go ahead and get the camera off the tripod and show you a close-up of what happened to it. All right, let's go ahead and open it up. Okay, see how it drops down like that? Well, what happened was just a few times after this opening, just me testing it out, I didn't do anything to it, didn't pull on it, didn't do anything other than what you're supposed to do. And what I found was there was a wee little tiny screw that held this arm on, and that little screw just came right out of this wood. This is like press wood or whatever that this is made out of. And that little screw, it was just a little, like a 1/4-inch screw, and it just literally worked back and forth in that wood, and it pulled out, and there was wood shavings in there. So what I did was, just kind of thinking quick, I'd been putting up curtains somewhere in the house, and what I thought was I need something to brace it and give it more strength so that it'll hold without all the pressure being in one spot. So my quick thinking, backyard engineering, I took a bracket from a curtain hanger, and I made a new hole here for the original screw to go in that was there, and then I drilled a hole up here, and then I used longer screws that didn't come through the bottom of this. I used longer screws, and it's been fine now. Then the only other problem I had was once I moved this over from the original hole, because that hole stripped out, and I get it all in there and I'm happy and I'm like, yes, this will work. And then I go to close it and I figure out that, hey, now that I move this bracket over, guess what? The underneath supporting bracket was in the way now of this being able to close and seat in there, because it would have been more over here, like right here. So I had to take a wood file and notch this press board out here so that I could get this to, I'm not going to be able to show it to you here, but so I could get this to actually clear and close up there. So at first I was kind of like, you know, frustrated or whatever, but once I milled this little part out, or whatever you want to call it, filed it out, then it seemed to work perfect. So I'm not really going to complain there, but you can't tell me that they can't make that better where that screw is down here. That screw should not have just fell out of that hole, because that's basically what it did. It just literally fell out. Let me give you a little closer look with the light. And it's been fine since. I've opened this and closed it several times, and it's been fine since. The company's called Covert Cabinets, so it's not a tactical walls shelf. This stuff is so extremely expensive too, guys. Like, I don't think this one's really expensive. I think you can get this for like $130, $140, maybe somewhere in there, maybe $130. But like tactical walls and stuff, I looked into their stuff and I was like, there's no way, you know, $399 and all this other stuff. I'm like, there's no way. I mean, I understand it takes a lot of things or a lot of work and engineering to make these kind of shelves, but I'm thinking, you know what, $400, and you know, how much more would you have to add to that to get yourself a good safe? But I like it. It was a great Christmas gift. I was so happy. We came over to my house, me and a couple relatives, that night from the Christmas party, and we installed this baby right up. They knew I wanted it bad, and we got it installed, and it was, like I said, it was easy to install. You know, once you have the proper tools and stuff, it's easy to install, and you just close her up, and if you ever need it, you got, like I said, very sturdy. If you ever need it, there's a gun in there. Now people that aren't gun guys, they would never know that there's a gun in there. You just wouldn't think of it. Just the way it's tapered, just the way, you know, just the way it is like that. You would never think that there's a firearm in there. But the whole thing is, guys, is to keep it accessible but out of sight. A gun under the bed that's the first place somebody's going to look. A gun in a dresser drawer, that's the first place somebody's going to look. You have it in here, you have easy access to it, and you know, if you ever need somebody's kicking your door in, somebody comes to the door and they try to force their way in, you never know nowadays. You gotta be careful. You know, you always have to be careful and watch your back. All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed it. Covert Cabinets, gun concealment shelf. And you know what, I was going to tell you something else, so before I go, because I think there is, now if you wanted, it would probably put a lot of weight on this, but you could possibly do two handguns, one up here and one down here, turned the other way. So like a barrel of a gun's come down here, and the barrel's over here, and the handle's here. You could get two in there. I don't know why exactly you would really want to do that, but you could, maybe for one for you, one for your wife. And especially if they were smaller. This is a full-size 17. So imagine if you had like two Glock 43s. You could flip the other one. You could definitely get two of them in there, and probably a magazine. So it's all in what you want to do. What I did was I took the Leatherman PS4 squirt knife that's really thin, and you want to trace around your gun. I actually just put the gun on the foam, and I cut around the gun because these don't come pre-cut. I just cut the foam. I went with the knife, with the side of the knife right up against the gun without the blade touching, and I made slight cut all the way around the gun, like I was tracing it all the way around, and then I removed the gun, and where those slight cuts were, I went halfway down through the foam, and then you can pull the foam out like plugs, and you know, get it pretty nice. As you can see, it's not bad, it's not perfect, but it wasn't hard at all. Just something I was doing on an evening there. You can see right there. Did the same thing for that and for the light, and it all worked out well. All right, guys. This is Defender of Freedoms. We've got to defend our freedom, guys, now more than ever. And I'm out.